The race driver series made by Codemasters debuted way back in the late 90s with the TOCA series, with a big focus on the simulation. I played TOCA 3 myself, and actually it's a pretty nice game. Lots of racing categories with a great handling model for each car.
God have mercy upon us.
And there's a lot of them, including some unknown legends and famous sports cars.
Are you sure about that?
A long career with cutscenes full of racing nudges and some funny bits, or traumatizing if you prefer.
Come here, I want to kiss you.
But in 2008, they flipped the coin completely. Gone with the realism and in with that full carnage mode. Cars that should be full downforce beasts with suspensions that should be harder than whoever works with her, bounce around the track as if it was nothing. And the same goes to the GTs and touring cars. Sometimes it seems like I'm making the corners with only 3 wheels touching the ground. And that's for your 70s muscle cars. Did you ever heard about super trucks? But I'm not exactly complaining here, cause since these cars like to slide very often, at least I have an excuse to make this an handbrake bumping simulator. Especially in tight circuits like Yokohama, with very tight corners that if you want to take as fast as possible, you will have to take some risks. By the way, turning the assist off isn't one of those risks, cause unlike other racing games where the assists add an extra level of difficulty,
Power! Power, come on!
in here it's basically win or... And even with the assist on, this is still a very common thing to happen. And it's very sad when you're battling against another driver for an entire race just to have everything thrown away by a single unpredicted slide.
Oh shit.
But exchanging 6 for half a dozen, remember the full carnage thing? Just the difference between the kind of action you would see in a TOCA game compared to Grid, it's something that puts a smile on my face.
Yo, this is funny.
The crash physics are a bit of a hit or miss, because yeah, it's an spectacle to see the cars in front of you getting involved in a massive crash, with the damage model being just that cherry on the top. But you know what's not that spectacular? Having your racing career ended because you're in the middle of the damn thing! And believe me when I say that the game forces the AI in basically every single race, which sometimes can be helpful when you're at the back of the pack trying to work your way to the podium. Thankfully, unlike TOCA 3, FIA regulations are nowhere to be seen, so cutting corners at full throttle, it's a must at higher difficulties. But be careful, cause if you think that the sticky grass in the Forza series it's a pain in the back, here if your car touched the outside of the track, it will be basically impossible to not let the car spin. And yes, I'm looking at you, 911. That thing on Lasat was so fucking... Speaking of Lasat, the track variety on this game it's pretty good. Some tracks can look very similar though, but at least there's a lot of different layouts for each one. From the Lasat, Istanbul Park, Donington Park, and the Nürburgring, which sadly it's only the GP version. But my favorite tracks of the game certainly are the city tracks, because they all look so damn good, and the layout it's full of sharp corners where the smallest of bumps can put you right through the tire walls. Like in Yokohama, which I'm pretty sure that got some people traumatized, because not only it's a very technical circuit, but also has a lot of places that you can hit and wreck your car, and also a lot of props that can make you go Vin Diesel style. The car list is pretty varied as well, muscles, stunners, GTs, and even open wheelers, and all of them feel and look very differently from each other. Exclusive interior views with animations for acceleration, braking, and changing gears. Unfortunately, even though the car list is pretty varied, there isn't that many of them, but since there's a lot of modalities of races that you can enter, all cars end up being used in a lot of different events, which are divided in 3 areas, or licenses: USA, Europe, and Japan, each with its own set of events, from the Toges, Touring Car Championships, and even Destruction Derbies, which are a lot of fun, until you get smacked in the middle of a jump. And yes, that's the kind of thing that makes me giggle a bit, especially after losing a tough race because I was out of replay. But going back to the events, in fact, all of them are a lot of fun when you're trying to climb your way through the positions. And it gets even better with the soundtrack, if there was any. In most races it will be pure engine sounds only, but since they sound well, for me that isn't a big problem. But it's still sad that the game doesn't show any sign of a soundtrack, until you start a random race that at first sight doesn't have anything special about it and... Going back to the career, after choosing the name of your team and your alias, you have to hit specific marks to go to the next licenses, unlocking different and harder events, a co-driver that is basically a mix between
How could this happen to me?
And
Speed.
and also gaining access to an endurance race, the 24 hours of Le Mans, which it's only 24 minutes by the way, but sometimes they're as heart pumping as the real ones. So much so that I already lost count on how many times I lost it. Yes, I can accept it, I'm bad, I'm crap on this. But the game didn't need it to be this tough. For those who are wondering, the difficulty setting is not customizable like in other games. So the outcome of most races only rely on their consistency. If you keep your 4 wheels on the track, you will not have many problems winning every race on the hardest difficulty. But as soon as you crash more than twice, you can say bye-bye to your easy win. And if you play on the easiest difficulty, you will have tons of replays, but the AI will be dumber than dirt. But if you put on the highest one, the AI will make you sweat a little, but you will have only one replay to spare. And since this is the average Le Mans gameplay, I think the last thing you want is an AI that can keep up with you. And to make matters worse, this is a skippable event, which only made me accept it more as a challenge than anything else. So I snapped my fingers, grabbed my panos, looked menacingly at the spiker team that I needed to beat, and proceeded to crash mere minutes away from the end of the race. And everybody passed me. But hey, at least the spiker is behind me. So I just need to keep my pace and everything is good. Until the game reminded me that the hole goes a bit deeper than that. Yes, you're not listening wrong. They made a soundtrack specifically for the end of the race. And as you might expect, it made me quite confident. No more replays? I can handle that. The chance of losing yet another endurance race? Ah, get out of here. I'm heading for the pack, I still got time. And with my engine roaring, the crowd going crazy and the music heating up, I was getting close to the pack, I wasn't even paying much attention to the spiker anymore. I crashed. 30 seconds before the end. And the spiker passed me. And believe it or not, I still had enough mental health to try that shit again. Not enough to finish it anyways, but I still tried. Here's the thing though, the game is good, it's just not for my taste all that much. And since I don't really know how to finish this video, I'm gonna race on Detroit with my CUDA while listening to Barracuda or something. Bye who's watching this part, go on and subscribe. Cause I really need to get some views so I can pay my bills. Damn, that was good. Improvised, by the way.